All right, so let's go ahead and begin the reading. And the first card you have, some people look at it as, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. No worry, because oftentimes this can be a very auspicious card. Some readers think this is one of the more auspicious cards because it brings new beginnings. It is the Tower card in traditional tarot, the Wild Hunt in this particular deck. And so the story goes with the Wild Hunt. And by the way, this card, of course, as you know, brings sudden change, a shocking event. So in this particular deck, it's the Wild Hunt is led by the god in his aspect of the hunter. You can see these guys hunting up here. And they're traveling in the night as severe winds and thunderstorms and black clouds are all around them. And there's this shocking passage initiates abrupt changes as they gather what no longer is viable. And in that comes an unstoppable liberation, because it invigorates and forces the mind and the spirit to blast away any restrictions. So it's a powerful energy in a reading. Basically, Aquarius, this is an opportunity to cast off any burdensome encumbrances, anything that feels like you don't need it anymore, and that restrict a full life, so that you can achieve personal fulfillment. So that's the story of how how it goes in this deck. And basically it's the same thing. It's an abrupt change. One that maybe you saw could come, but it's the feeling of, well, what am I going to do? And a feeling of needing to get grounded right away. So shocking event. It can mean sometimes fire in the house, because as we see, there's fire up here. Not always. So just remember to, your electrical outlets, your wiring in your house. I'm also getting, interestingly enough, a slippery patio. I don't know what that's about, if it's been raining or icy. That could be it. Watch your step if you live in a part of the world right now where there's cold weather and ice and storms. If not, then it could be just, it's been raining and it's wet, and watch out for the mud. It can be slippery. That's how I broke my wrist, was I just slipped on mud. It was that quick. It was shocking. I have to tell you. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, Aquarius. This could be leaving an organization, leaving a job, your house. I'm getting the words for some of you, maybe foreclosed or needing to make those payments to get caught up on, or else it could lead to more shocking events. But it is a freeing of the spirit. And so I want you to look at it as a positive card, and it will bring positivity and life force into your life. It'll get you out of complacency, actually. When I broke my wrist, I'm like, well, what was that about? But I think it was somewhat about slowing down. I think it was a message from the universe, and as well as a couple other things. And I had drawn, actually, too, I had drawn a spread for myself about a week earlier. And this was the first card that came up. And then the other cards were actually pretty nice. But this came up, and I'm like, well, okay, universe, I trust you. I believe in you. I know you have my back. And so there you go. As we know, life is not always, just going sailing every day, or going on a picnic, or we need sometimes changes to get our attention. All right. So the next card next to the Wild Hunt, or the Tower card, is the Ten of Pentacles. And this is a card of property, happy home, happy family, supportive family environment. And as you can see, this is a generational card. There's the couple behind the older gentleman, and then the child. And when I look at this card, again, this comes up sometimes, I get the purple that he's dressed in, the purple robing. It's a very intuitive color, very analytical as well. So it could be that there's an accumulation of wealth in the family or accumulation of property. Maybe that's what this wild hunt is about, this breaking down barriers around the family tree. This is generally an auspicious card. And I feel I'm going to look at, of course, these others as well. But I do feel like it has to do with some of you with your family property, your inheritance. It could be, I'm not saying this because I don't predict death, but it could be someone passing in the family and they're leaving money, and yet there's no indication of a will or something that would feel settled for the family to take care of the legal matters. Now, there's no legal cards in this deck, but I'm just saying the different scenarios that it could be. And my intuition's coming up a little bit on that one. I'm also noticing this little horse, this doll horse that she's playing with. And kids, anything that has to do with kids too, because look at this card that it's diagonal to is the Six of Chalices. And this card usually represents longing for childhood memories, looking back at our home traditions, what we did at home that created our childhood foundation. And it's 6, so it's in harmony of our heart and our emotions. Reliving good memories is like when, a parent maybe passes down a hobby to you and you really enjoyed it, and here's all the teacups. So you took up a hobby that, a parent, like I said, enjoyed, and this is real intricate detail type of hobby. It is in diagonal to this home. And I feel like there's a lot of family issues. This reading will not be for all of you Aquarians, but I am feeling the sense of family, home, generations, youth, older parents. Some of you may be taking care of older parents, or an event comes up where you need to. If something happens. So just saying, I'm enjoying the birds in these cards. This is a canary. And as we know, a canary is a symbol of companionship and harmony. And it's carried in this cage by this little boy. So feeling like the times in our life where we were really happy, we were doing the fun things in life. We were children, we were playful, we were in the present moment. And longing for that. You might be making such a transition that you're like, oh, wait, let me just go back to when it was easy when I was a child. If in fact your childhood was easy. Sometimes it can go back to limiting beliefs of childhood that came up through this. But it can be that these longing for the good old days, this can create melancholy, but also connections in the past that can be utilized to manifest dreams. So if you're longing for connecting with that person who you used to know and they were so great when you were younger, they may be able to help you at some point in your life. A lot of times our friends are our soul connections, right? Our soulmates in some form or another. Doesn't always have to be a lover. It can be a friend. And then the fourth card is the Five of Swords. So this is an interesting card to come up in reverse. And so I'll read it straight up and in reverse. So see how straight up this guy is trying to convince this guy of his idea, that swords are about our ideas and our thoughts. And he's handing him his idea, and this guy's like, no, I don't know. I don't know if it's good enough for what we need here. He has an option to purchase this idea, but he's not taking him up on it. So there might be a little bit of anxiety or potential defeat, and you just need to bolster your confidence. But you know what? It's interesting is this came up in reverse. And I will tell you, there's two ways of looking at this. You could look at this as, okay, nothing happens. There's empty gains. There's stagnation, there's fear of defeat. I'm looking at it as, I'm feeling like that it could be that you end up being successful. There's two ways. You could feel like, okay, defeat, that's it. But not really. I feel like you could be successful in conveying your idea once you come up with the perspective of your needs, of what you need personally, so that you can convince this person. And this, this might be you too. Maybe someone's trying to convince you, or they have tried to convince you to do one thing or another. Okay. Remember I was talking about deference, respectful submission, or yielding to the judgment or opinion of others. It could mean that, in reverse, you do yield to the other people's opinion. It could mean that. Or it could mean that you've just decided that, you know what, you're going to have to go on your merry way and do things your individualistic self. So that's what I felt like when I pulled this card, and I kept thinking of that word, deference. It's domination by others. And so maybe you've been through that. Maybe you're feeling like other people have dominated your thoughts and your ideas. And maybe you've been giving too much respect to other people. And maybe you've been giving them too much value that you know what, you're thinking, you know what, I'm not really sure that that's what's good for me. A coworker, a partner, a lover, a parent, an advisor, someone who's been giving you their opinion. So just as always, we want to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're happy so that we can give to other people, right? I always say, put yourself in front of the line. It's not selfish. It's taking care of your own needs, truly, so that you can be there for others and your health is good and your emotional being is well and your spiritual self is well. All right? I feel like a preacher and I'm not. I keep looking at this guy in purple though. He means something in this particular card. He may be someone that has passed on. He feels very intuitive. He feels like a wise person, someone that's supportive of you. You may not know who this person is. Maybe it's one of your guides or angels, or, I'm just saying it could be. So with this happening at the beginning, you might be thinking of childhood memories. You may have this may be connected to family stuff. And make sure to support your own opinions, your own ideals. All right, let's pull some clarifying cards. I wanted to pick up my deck that was the regular playing cards. That was interesting. This deck, the Jack of Diamonds. Well, you know what? That would be, felt a need to pick this card up from the top of the deck. This would be the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles. So I feel like that you all can, I was saying, be your own individual self. Boy, the Knight of Pentacles, he's ready to make money and to create the world he wants. The Knights are always youthful. They're not the pages. They're not the young dudes, but they're, young, teenager to middle age. They're still ready to work and make money. Okay. So, couple things here. The Eight of Cups in reverse. So normally the Eight of Cups is moving on, moving past from what has been difficult situations, but you're ready to see new horizons. It came up in reverse. I feel like though you guys are working on this. I feel like you're trying to get to that point so that you can see, that you can feel balanced. See how she's pouring one cup of water into another? There's a balance in this card. There's need for patience. She has her angelic wings on and she's channeling light from, her into her seventh chakra and into actually her third eye. So this feels very intuitive for me, for you guys. And it came on this particular card. So use your meditation, use your candles, use your cards, use whatever it is that helps you get in sync with the spiritual world. That will be of benefit to you. Okay, my friends, well, the cards are coming up in reverse, and I'm looking at the deck, and I'm like, well, this is not in reverse. So anyway, well, it's a good thing this one is, though, the Eight of Swords, because look how this again is a sword card. Her thinking is she feels tied up. She feels bound, like she can't move. I was talking about moving on here. And all she needs to do is to take off the blinders, see things for what they really are. Let the wind pull off this rope so she has room to move, so she has elbow space, and she can make her own decisions. I feel like some of you are not bound to others, but again, respect your own opinions. This in your own feelings and thoughts. This did come up in reverse. So you're getting there. You're starting to acknowledge yourself. Okay, well, all of yours are in reverse. What can I say? The King of Swords. And this Aquarius would be an air sign. Gemini, Libra, or you, Aquarius. And I feel like it's, of course, you. This is a guy who is very smart. He's very analytical. He has his plans well made out. He's mastered the art of decisions and decision making. See how there's this glow of this star on his sword? So he's like ready to whip things into shape. He takes charge. He takes action. He knows how to do it with all of his heart and soul. It did come up in reverse. So you're still working on your plans. You're still laying out your outline. You're working on it. You're not the king yet. You might be, more of the knight. The knight strives for being the king. Okay, one more. The Hanged Man wants to come out. I don't know what to say. Okay, so this is about reflection, introspection, doing a 360 or 180 rather on a perception or a perception that you've had about a person, a group, an organization, a company, a love romance, a friend. Because some of you have been up, worrying and thinking about things a lot, crying. I don't want to sound like this is a negative spread, Aquarius, because I feel like you all have had some pretty good spreads lately. And this is the beginning of the month. So again, this will not apply to all of you, but the Nine of Swords did come up. So it can be about worrying about your health, or it can be about thinking about how am I going to make this move? Or how can I pay my bills? And the rest is needed. Yeah, the Hanged Man saying, we just need to rest. You can figure it out. Whew, and then the Page of Pentacles comes up. Okay, I'm loving that. So this is a very auspicious card. The Page of Pentacles, of course, is about your money and your property and news about a new way of making money. Young dudes bring news, right? So he's holding this very cherished pentacle lovingly, actually, and ready to present his ideas to the world to manifest and create abundance. He has the red on his headband and on his little vest here. So there's passion. There's passion in this new opportunity to make money. All right. So one more. And then the King of Rods. All right. That's awesome. The King of Rods comes up in straight up, unlike the King of Swords. So this could be a fire sign. This could be a Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, sun, moon, or rising. I feel like this person, and I'm looking at this face, and he's someone who's mastered, of course, the kings are mastered. He's mastered the art of inventiveness and creativeness. He's an awfully good advisor if you need someone who's has a great mind, a creative mind. I feel like this is someone who's being a little bit gruff with you, like saying, come on, get on it. I'm like, I feel like, come on, get on it. And it could be a supervisor, or it could be someone who is a mentor, someone who supports you, but I'm feeling a little bit of gruffness. They want you to be more spontaneous in a way. It's not always just going by, dot to dot to dot to dot. It's good to be practical and grounded, but I'm feeling like there's a little bit of spontaneity and idealism. I keep bringing that up, and individuality. Individuality. All right. So back to deference. It might be that you want to think about that word and think about how that applies and if that is good in your world, yielding to the opinions of others. Do you want to do that, or do you want to be your own person? Okay. And I know you all do. I know everyone does. But there's just times in our life where we need to think about that. Is this a good idea, or is this not a good idea? Are they right? Are they supportive of me? Are they not supportive of my core values? Okay, so I'm going to add these cards up. This was interesting read, Aquarius. Going to add these cards up numerologically, and of course, what matches the major arcana cards. So we have 16 and 10 is 26, and 26 and 6 is 32, and 5 is what? 37. I'm going to do that backwards. 5, 6 is 11, 21, and 6 is 37. Yep. And 3 and 7 is 11, and 11 is a master number. I've been getting some master numbers. I forgot who it was 44, and that was pretty awesome. I love the master number of 11 because you know what? 11 to me is service of others, but it's a very creative individual. If you have a life path of 11, or if you were born on the 11th, or whatever the case may be, the ones are about individuality. There I go again. I'm just feeling it for you guys, Aquarius.